thanks everyone. Thanks for coming back in after a lunch session. It's a tough one always, immediately after lunch. Uh, but we'd love to share some insights about the D2C space, especially in the digital space. I'll also start by saying, I think every retail business is anyway D2C, whether it's offline or online. We're just coming in with a digital first aspect here. I'm super excited by the variety that we have in this panel. Some very innovative emerging business models. Uh, Allow me to, pass it on to each one to share a couple of minutes each on what kind of businesses, when it started, which is the target market, how it evolved. My absolute pleasure to first bring in Siddharth here, who runs a fast fashion business of great admiration in the last couple of years. It's been highly featured, uh, and only he knows how they've done it right.
Hi, thanks Navin, thanks for the introduction. Uh, basically started off my journey back in 2019 with a small retail store in Bangalore, which was about 300, 350 square foot. We were more into surplus clothing, wherein I used to source a lot of garments from other factories, those surplus leftovers, and sell them in retail. The store started doing really well and then got deeper, started sourcing more stock and supplying to other retailers until 2012. That is what I was doing. Finally, in 2012, there was a very strange thing that happened while dealing with these factories. There was one particular factory which was ready to sell their fabrics as well. And I was making about 2.5 lakh rupees in that transaction, wherein I didn't have that capital to invest also. And then uh, did that transaction because I had a buyer ready, and to my bad luck, there was an audit going on there, so they couldn't actually, dispatch that fabric in post 20 days. Uh, the guy whom I committed to sell actually denied, saying it's too late, I don't need. And that's when I was stuck with those fabric. They were shirt fabrics, and put them around in my network. And there was one particular retailer based out of Bombay who was like, "Can you convert them into shirts?" And that is how I got into the whole production journey. So I did a sample round of 300 pieces. Those shirts did really well, and then never looked back. 10 to 12 years, this is what I was doing, making anything and everything in the men's apparel space for the brands like Madura, Arvind, and Landmark Group, etc. And while doing this, I observed that fashion for men was very seasonal. Uh, so, so there were basically four collections: summer, spring, summer, winter, autumn, winter. No one was focusing on fashion on a daily basis. A lot of European brands do that, and that's when I saw that huge gap. July 2020, we started Snitch, uh, barely with a team of about 4 people on a Shopify platform, and say about 20, 25 products on the website. But we started getting huge response there, and it's been a roller coaster ride post that, which we'll discuss in detail. So today we've shipped almost about 500,000 orders. We do about 1,700 orders on a daily basis, and yeah.
We'll pass it on to Sunil ji from Indic Inspirations. Please give us some inspiration here.
Good afternoon, everybody. Indic Inspirations started with trying to help artisans of India get a market. We first set up a public charitable trust called Heart for Art about 8 years ago. And I think I was just talking earlier. And we do everything, but all the artisans need dhanda. That's what we heard from them. So we help them get a market. We set up a online store on their behalf, help them get business and so on. In December 2019, we decided to work with artisans and create new products. Until then, we were kind of helping them with whatever they were doing. And we decided to pivot on changing the collectibles, souvenirs, merchandise that narrate India's stories, souvenirs of India. And we found that the mangled elephant or the Taj Mahal or a few other objects which have been there as symbols of India have been there forever, and no good quality, no good packaging, and so on. So we decided to address that through new products, new ideas, new stories, good design, good packaging, and deeply researched products and stories, all rendered to narrate stories of India's traditions, culture, heritage, and achievements, rendered through India's arts and crafts or artisanal engineering. What does artisanal engineering mean? Scale models. Okay, there's no scale models capability in India where you want to make a ISRO rocket or a model of the Tejas aircraft and so on, right? A lot of that was either coming from China or it was being made in Taiwan or Germany. So a range of products that span, say, stories of Shunya, India's greatest gift to mankind, which we have never celebrated, right? Others have made money on the zero. Uh, or about India's dance traditions, or India as a republic. So we've not even celebrated the preamble of our constitution or the fundamental duties in our constitution. We did some work to put together some products that bring all these ideas together. So exciting times. We started just before COVID, and then of course the automatic thing to do was to do things online, and we've learned a lot. And we are also working a lot on creating a culture of gifting souvenirs, buying souvenirs, collectibles, and so on through experiences. And we'll talk more about it. So it's great to be here. Look forward to a productive discussion.
Thanks so much, Sunilji. Just pass it over to Mayank. Can you please introduce us to Reshamandi?
Okay. Thank you so much. Hi guys, I am the founder and CEO of Reshamandi. We are primarily an ecosystem from fiber to fashion and everything in between, which means that we work with farmers, yarn producers, weavers, and retailers across India, approximately around 35 plus cities that we cover. Today we have around 70,000 stakeholders working on our B2B side, but very recently when we started looking at our data, we realized that we are cutting down the cost price for the retailer for their end produce, whether it's the silk sari that they're buying from us, or whether it's the apparels that they were buying, whether it was cotton or viscose or anything of that sort. And because of that cost price reduction, we said, we'll have to start doing a private label to figure out a strategy on consumer side and give out the accessibility and convenience utilizing this retailer leg that we already have. We have around 3,500 retailers working with us. Why not use these SME retailers and create a massive pool of convenience for the end consumer? And that's the story of Reshamandi. We've been in business for around 2 years, fairly scaled. We have 600 people working with us today. And I look forward to a productive discussion today. I hope I learned something. I hope I am able to tell you something that is exciting and you can take back something from here. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Over to Abhinav, our F&B representative on the panel, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having me. Lovely to be at this session. So I'm Abhinav. I represent this company called Good Dot. Good Dot is a plant-based meat company. It is one of the pioneers in this space in India. We started our journey in 2016, and we formed this company for one and one purpose only, which was to help reduce the demand for animal meat and promote compassionate eating without having to have people reduce or give up on anything without any sacrifices in terms of taste, texture, etc., while at the same time providing something that's fun and tasty. We are currently sold across 8,000 plus stores in India in the brick and mortar space, and our D2C play has started, over the past year, and it's really growing fast. Quite excited about that. At the same time, we also have a chain of vegan QSRs, which is under the brand name Good Do, for which I'm the co-founder and CEO. And Good Do is, by the way, named after a goat that we rescued from a meat shop, and the goat was named by our workers in our factory as Good Do. So Good Do became Good Do, and that's the QSR chain. We are in Bombay and Udaipur and Kathmandu with other cities coming up. So yeah, again, very excited to learn from this wonderful panel and hopefully some exciting discussions here with you, all you guys, and hope to contribute and learn something here. Thank you.
Over to Charanjeev. Please tell us something about Singh's style.
Sat Shri Akal to everyone out here. I'm very nervous. I actually broke my leg in the morning. I'm so excited to be on the panel. So forgive me, and I might be even goofing up, so forgive me for that. So, Singh Style is actually a turban and beard brand that it's the world's first turban and beard brand that we have created, which is for the Sikh community, for the Singh gentlemen. We cater to nearly 30 million. The Sikh population is around 30 to 32 million or 3 crores, right? But no brand had ever looked at our or focused on our needs. So I always say that brands spend billions of dollars creating a brand identity, but our gurus have given us a free identity, which we need to, which is a turban and beard. We just have to maintain it. But there was a scarcity within the market for this, right? I used to see a lot of the youth moving away from the identity because of the lack of products. In Bombay till 2014, there was 1 or 2 turban shops which was catering to 2 lakh families. And I had to go all the way to Kolivada to buy those products. And if I'm not happy with the quality, I can't complain, right? And if you go down to Bangalore and all, zero. So we said that, okay, it's a Guru gifted identity. Let's help the youth. If they want to remain with the faith, we will cater to their needs. So what we did is that we started thinking or planning about things, and we said, okay, what is the first need? The need is quality turbans and beard care products. People were using, hair gels or sprays, alcohol to spray on their skins, and that was that's very bad. So what we did is we created first an R&D team, which started formulating products in-house. So all our beard care, hair care products are formulated, research. We take around 8 to 9 months before we release any product. We said, I'm done looking at Sardars wearing those blacks, blues, and red turbans. I want them to get flamboyant, right? So we'll get the tea pool blues and we'll get that, aqua colors and all. And today, Singh Style has around 110 shades on the website. Our target is to become the Asian paints for turbans. And people boast, the youth has started coming back or they started liking our products. So nobody goes and says, I'm wearing a brown color turban. I'm wearing a Singh Style cinnamon turban. Okay? So that's what happened with the youth is they started connecting with the brand. They started understanding, okay, I don't have to give up my identity to style myself. I can now have products which will help me to style and groom, also maintain the identity, right? So that's the birth of Singh Style.
Excellent. Thanks for that. Great work there. So, Sumedh, last but not the least, another very interesting variant available on this panel in the EV space. So please help us.
Thanks. So, hi guys, my name is Sumedh. I am co-founder and chief business officer of a brand called Motorad. Motorad, most of the people might not be aware what we do. And when I say what product we do, all of you must be not aware. So we are dealing with EV segment, but with a funny sector called electric cycle. People must have heard electric, people must have heard cycles, but electric cycle as a product are very few people aware of. So this all journey started where we were in search of electric two-wheeler mobility, solving this problem at scale. We all four founders came from the background of micro mobility, and we were trying to innovate products and design to the Indian roads, Indian needs, the EV. That's where we came across this wonderful product, electric bike, when we were on the tour of Europe, and we understood the world has shifted from IC to electric in only two categories. One is electric cars, and the second is electric bikes. I'll give you one stat. Most of you will be blown away by the stat. There are hardly 8 million electric cars on the road. There are 21 million two-wheelers we are selling per year in the country in IC engine, which is roughly 2.5 crores. But 132 million is the market of electric bikes worldwide. That's the stats. Now, why is world moving towards this particular part of mobility? What unique it has is all about design, less demand of infrastructure on the road. Electric bike doesn't require battery swapping station. After 70 years of independence, we still new petrol bunks coming next to our houses. We see new IC engine shops getting opened up. Infrastructure for 70 years of independence was not enough. So replacing it with two-wheelers, typical like scooter per se or motorcycle per se, was a test of time. We definitely needed a product which will augment the growth of adoption of EV, was e-bike. So we came in this concept, we started this, and all of us challenged on the ground, boss, whatever happens in the Western world doesn't need to follow in the country. But everyone failed to understand the use case of the product. A lot of people from cycle industry rejected us to join. A lot of people from IC engine industry rejected us to join. That's where we board took a decision, boss, none of us will hire from cycle or ICE or EV industry. Today we are 102 people with 40,000 plus square feet manufacturing capacity. Last year we did 22,000 units of e-bikes. 40% was domestic, 60% was exports. And that's a short journey of 18 months. We scaled in COVID, and blessed to see this concept of D2C and having a discussion, sharing certain experience on the matter. Thank you.
Great. Thanks a ton. Hopefully, the first 15 minutes of introductions have opened up the minds of a lot of us in terms of variable business models, especially driven through innovation as well as from a channel perspective, we are digital in reach. In terms of format, probably we'd like to be able to take questions at any point. So if anyone wants to raise their hands when anyone's, we'd like to keep it interactive. Otherwise, we'll definitely reserve the last 10 minutes as one block. So anything works for us. We discussed that that would be a good format. So back to the panel here. I think the first real topic which we'll open for everyone's views is what do we think has really contributed to this surge in D2C from a consumption standpoint, especially in the last few years. What did the consumer really find as a gap that a lot of us have been able to go and serve? So, you've got brilliant experiences, especially in the last year or two. Please share your individual thoughts on that.
So, you said what is driving the consumer behavior towards D2C. I think it's the surgence of Geo in India, to be very honest. It allowed people that accessibility to mobility, and it allowed people to have the internet on their hand. Because of that accessibility, now I can give out fashion to you on your phone, I can give out EV to you on your phone, and I can sell whatever I want, right? WhatsApp became a channel of sales for everyone. It's a mode of communication everybody was understanding. And those primary aspects allowed us to primarily look at a new industry coming out. I mean, retail was always targeting the consumer at any given point in time. There were physical stores that were targeting you. The only change that has happened is of digital coming in place. And that allows consumer to now have accessibility. Like if you go to a C-class town or you go to a village as well, the whole point of fast fashion or the whole point of, knowing what is happening, they can go to Instagram, look at a, influencer and see, okay, I want to wear this. Where do I find this? And then a brand can cater to that need. So reach
Um, yeah, I would like to add a few to what was mentioned. Like you said, WhatsApp and availability of smartphones, and then WhatsApp payments has become so easy. Okay, so even a small guy could start something and get paid. Uh, the logistics, all the other startups that solved the logistics problem, it became easy to kind of accept orders and ship things out. Um, um, I think just the push given to doing things digitally, whether it was demonetization or COVID that forced people to almost change their lifestyles in a sense. And I think just the pride to be able to leapfrog, okay, saying, hey, you know what, even my cousins in America can't do it, I can do it. So all of these drivers have helped D2C happen. And it's also just the ease of setting up a business and doing business the D2C way rather than going and setting up physical stores. Yeah, I think all of these factors have come together.
Oh, all right. So there are 2 or 3 points out here which are the drivers, according to me, whatever I see from Singh Sir's lens. One is that I don't consider what is D2C brands, right? These are new age brands, and there are traditional brands. Traditional brands had distributions, they had enough of cash flows to build a product and take it to the market. But new age brands actually bet on digital India. This is back before even 2000, I think 2007 onwards, when Flipkarts and all came in, where he started encouraging the new youth, to get into startups and saying, okay, I want to build a brand by myself. The second biggest thing which has happened is what Mayank has said is Geo, right? And that has actually helped to fulfill, or D2C brands, or the new age brands have helped to fulfill the aspiration. Now, if you see any D2C, research report, they will actually say that tier 2 and tier 3 cities are the highest consumers. Is because they had the money, but they didn't have the access to brands, right? Whereas we all had. Uh, D2C has been able to fulfill that. It has built products which are aspirational, and it's taken it and said, okay, you book it online, I will come to your doorstep and deliver to you. You pay me online or you pay me COD. It's okay, right? Uh, and the third biggest thing which I see is a consumer willingness. Our parents would have, my mother still does not go away from Saffola, बोलती तेरा heart बचा हुआ है ना, अब तक heart attack नहीं आया because of Saffola, right? But I would say that I would scroll on Instagram and say, अरे boss ये नया अभी आया है, I tell my wife Sumedh, ये नया diet का आया supplement ले लेते हैं, ठीक है? I don't know what the product is all about, but I like the story, I like the narration, I like the packaging, and it gets delivered within 2 or 3 days. If I don't like it, it's okay. I will give another product a chance, right? So the consumer willingness is another biggest driver for, and then the ecosystem which we had. You have the Shopify's, you have Amazon's to launch your product. You don't need to even come onto a Shopify. Just launch it on an Amazon tomorrow. Only your product has to be good. It has to be great. It has to be focused, and you can market. And then the likes of Zeptos are already delivering to within 10 minutes to impatient consumers. It's a big boon for the D2C sector, right?
So I was thinking of what to add here, and all very relevant points. Something that I feel what is very critical is Instagram has opened up Bharat, right? Has opened up Bharat to the brands of India. And not just in terms of accessibility and awareness, but also the whole thing of influencer marketing. I think that really makes a difference in terms of people's awareness, desire, and ability to source certain products. Something that is added to that, I'll share our example. Our own products, we are into plant-based meats. People would say it's a very cutting-edge, cosmopolitan, South Bombay, South Delhi, Bangalore kind of product. But the 10 top cities that we sell our products in include cities like Asansol in Bengal, Samastipur in Bihar, Bhubaneswar, Vizag. Of course, you have the Bangalore and the Bombay. But, Bharat is ready for anything and everything, and they're aware of anything and everything. So we need to focus on what the product, and we need to create there's also now a pride about products and brands coming out of India, right? Because of geopolitics, because of whatever else. And that is something that Indian brands can, really jump on top of and, get their products out there, because there's a demand for products and brands that are made in India for India. So those are my two points about what's pushing this D2C adoption fast.
So D2C, if I believe, is an approach rather than a sales strategy, because any brands, if you see and take it up example, the native sales will be exceptionally low. There will be definitely few exceptions. Those are doing only website, but other modes of sales also. So I believe D2C should be considered as an approach to the market rather than a selling strategy. D2C approach enabled new brands, new age products to reach out to the consumer where people were brand agnostic. If giving you an example, my products were placed at the point of time was 49,000, 59,000 rupee. And people from tier 3, tier 4 were willing to give it a try. People were willing to buy these products. And as sir rightly said, we have the logistics in place. We have internet in place. We have trust on a virtual reality in place. Now people get influenced by looking at videos. It has boon and the other side of the story too. But D2C enablers in the country is, I believe, approach, not only the sales channel.
I mean, most of the points have been covered, but I think D2C is again got to do a lot with the human psychology that has evolved in the last 2-3 years. The way we think, I mean, the way we want to present ourselves, etc. I mean, just to give you an example, people start spending a lot of more time, on their Instagrams and Facebooks, and they want to look good. Thanks to your Tinder, everyone wants a right swipe. Men have started, thinking about grooming themselves and, dressing up themselves really cool, whether it's a house party or anything of that sort. So it is more, yeah, towards accessibility. It is service that you provide. It is about the whole human psychology that has evolved over the last 2 years.
I'll just add one more point, which I think is very important, again, in the context of the last 2 years. Because of COVID, lots of people have not really been spending money, discretionary money that they would have liked to use, going out eating and other such things. And now that money is sitting with them and it's sort of itching them to be used. So people are more willing to buy things and, spend on discretionary stuff that's out there. So
yeah, I've just, wanted to recap this, so clearly accessibility and reach, that's one of the big things. We also heard democratization of payments that makes ease of doing business. We talked about ease of setting up, the supply chain ecosystem, being available so that, we don't need to bother about all aspects of it. You mentioned about the difference between traditional brands versus new age brands, and consumers willing to give a chance to new age brands. So that was an interesting one, which you talked about as willingness to try and buy with the storytelling. You talked about made in India for India and how screen time, etc., has really moved up. And last but not the least, the psychological impact of people wanting to try new, look good, and discretionary spends, which have been on the increase, and all contributing factors to this D2C scale. So thanks for those inputs. If anyone has questions, please feel free, even now or later. I'll be happy. Yes, please. Can we pass on a mic in the group, please?
Hello, my name is Baljit Singh. I had a question regarding D2C approach, where we hear that companies like Unilever and P&Gs, they have not gone D2C, although the volume that they have. And one of the main reasons being the logistics cost is not permitting them to do so. So I would like to understand your
Sure.
understanding on it, that how expensive logistics when you go to D2C with products which are not high valued.
Got it. And what would you term as high value versus not high value?
Probably 500 plus.
Got it. So please, there are a lot of experts here. I think someone like Sid has been able to really scale a business in the last few years, and trying to manage the cost of logistics has been something that we've tried to work together on as well. And the rest, whoever has that price point, if you could please share some insights.
So as I would like to take this question as an D2C approach, going to it or not going to it. See, if we see a lot of innovation or accessibility or acceptance has happened in the personal healthcare and the fashion industry, where the ticket size is not good, ticket sizes are less, and everyone is struggling. Delivering something to your doorstep with less than 300 rupee value is impossible to make money. And that's where if you see every brand or platform rather, if you see current D2C brand, no brand is only D2C. Every brand has an omni-channel presence. And India has learned this way, managing the third-party supply chain, managing the returns, accepting the returns, understanding the return product value. The D2C approach, delivering less than 300 value per order is not going to be sustainable. That's number one submission. Number two submission is D2C couldn't be only way to serve 1.3 billion population. It can be a way to entry. You cannot go to tier 4, you cannot go to tier 3 and make the products available. Plus, there is a consumer behavior associated with approach of D2C approach. See, brand agnostic people and early adopters are available in tier 1 cities. But even today, you take any example, be Mama Earth, Sugar Cosmetics, any products. When you go to tier 2 or tier 3, the people seek value out of it. They don't understand whether Virat Kohli is promoting it or Mahendra Singh Dhoni. They want to understand what is the value proposition they are getting out of that particular product. So scaling up, you take any example of FMCG industry which is established, who are doing good business. Their product images have been promoted by the platforms seeking consumers. So it's other way around. Rather they going D2C, there are the platforms which are enabling users to buy those products. So there was absolutely no need for the products which are established, where the distribution channels are cracked, where stakeholders in the business are promoting the multiple aspects of business. So I believe going D2C or not going D2C is a part of business where entrepreneurs should understand what my business is and how I should connect with the user. For us at eMotorad, one example I always give, when everybody was rejecting us, we reached out to the consumer directly. Was the proposition. When they accepted, now we have 176 dealerships across country. So it is about nature of business, what we do and what user connects with us. That's my submission.
Yeah, I mean, see, we started off our, average order value was about 700, 800 rupees, something similar to what you had mentioned. But it was more towards retention that we believed, which is very important. So you've spent a certain amount of money to acquire a customer, and then you send them out a product, and it is obvious that you might, break even on the first purchase, or maybe even make a loss of, say, about 50, 100 rupees. But then you have obvious chances that he's going to come back to you. And once that happens, then you start, scaling. So yeah, I think retention is a very good pointer where, your logistics cost would not affect so much once that consumer is addicted to you, and he would buy, add-on products also. And your upselling and cross-selling talents would, actually help you bring that whole cost down.
Sasikal, isn't HULs and Daburs buying D2C brands left, right, center? They're investing in D2C brands. I think when I started my career way back in 2004, I had the opportunity to work with PNGs and all, because I used to work with a digital agency, which was working very closely with HULs and all. And at that time also, they wanted to, become a direct-to-consumer brand. What is a direct-to-consumer brand? Is basically I open my own retail outlets and let them reach out. But the problem and that's why I started my discussion by saying that there are traditional businesses and there are new age businesses. For logistic is for a traditional business, logistic is not a matter at all. They can actually club a few things together, which I think ITC just started doing it during the pandemic, right? They have already got into the D2C thing where they're delivering it online. You just go to itc.com or I think co.in and place your order for your perfume and all, and they are shipping it to your doorstep. But they want a combo. They have primarily created combos for you so that does not hit their their profits, their P&Ls. But traditional businesses, it's very difficult for them to look at new age brands or get into new age businesses. They have got huge amount of manpower, whereas we work with 5 to 10 or maximum like 600 people. Over there, they would have 60,000 people, right? The mindset has to change. It will take, in 2004, when I went to Sunsilk and I told them, let's, with my boss, we said, okay, we will create this particular digital business wherein you invest around 40% of your this year's marketing into digital. They started laughing. It was 3%. This is what differentiates when we took a bet, we knew our customers are online. Traditional business also knew that, but they did not invest into the tools of Facebooks and all at that time. We did that and quickly acquired those customers. They are learning right now.
Yeah.
So logistics and all, it's basically maths, which I know they've got all the IIM Ahmedabad or Bangalore people out there who can do maths within 2 seconds, rather than the Sardar over here, right? But it's the willingness to do that. It's going to take immense amount of time, immense amount of restructuring within the company to become a D2C. That's why Mariko said, okay, I want to go and acquire a Beardo because I don't understand the business, but they are doing it very well. We will bank upon that particular team. And let's learn from there, right? Same goes with Dabur, same goes with Imamis and all, right? They are investing into D2C brands to learn, get the insights, get the data points from there, and figure out a way that they also become D2C, because the way the world is changing, thanks to the pandemic and all, the thought process of the consumer has changed drastically. And these traditional businesses will have to give up and move quickly onto the digital platforms.
Sure. Great insights there. I'll come in with an enabler point of view. I think brands in the digital space, which are probably more digital-first brands, have toyed around with adding shipping costs or combo packs because that flexibility existed in their new age business model. So those are things that I think at different points in time, depending on the product lines that keep getting launched, business owners in the digital space keep tinkering with. However, with little success, because the moment you create barriers to the checkout process in digital, you see your conversions falling drastically. And it is inversely proportionate to the ad money you put in at the top of the funnel. You'd rather not create barriers of exit in your funnel. On the other side, I do believe, and this is a slight tongue-in-cheek remark, I think the paid ad marketing platforms of discovery, like Facebook or even Google, haven't really figured out how in India you cater to a 400 rupee product line versus a 4,000 rupee product line. The cost of acquisitions are similar. So someone like a Facebook grew over 50% last year from this year by selling the same inventory to EdTech, not to e-commerce. So they didn't really care about how does that price point deliver. So that's a challenge that we have to really figure out, the low price point. However, I also believe, to your question on the logistics costs, I think the larger players you talked about, HUL, PNG, I think localized logistics where you're not doing interstate, hyper-local, dark stores, and now we talked about Q-commerce. I think that's probably the way for reducing your logistics costs in the lower price point segments. Obviously, you need volume to be able to do that, but there are also partners that help you create that localization of inventory so that costs go down as well as the experience improves. So I hope we've been able to.
Yeah, thank you so much. Uh, if I can ask one more question. Regarding options of going with already established players like Amazon, Flipkart, who can act as platform to get connected to the end users, having your own site or an app directly going to the consumer, what way would you choose and how much percentage of investment would you invest in other platform as compared to your own?
Sid, you'd like to take this D2C versus marketplace. Is it a versus at all? Is it cannibalization or is it more?
I strongly believe on your own website. I mean, we are a brand which sells 98% of our inventory on our own platform. So obviously, because it's your own baby, and you could actually get a lot of data about your consumers, their behavior. Marketplace, obviously, you need to go omni-channel, but marketplace versus D2C, I would any day say your own website because it gives you a lot of opportunity to understand your consumers, to take their feedbacks. You could get n number of things from your consumers directly rather than marketplaces because you'll just be one amongst those thousands there, and you wouldn't get any recognition, maybe not even make money there. But on your own platform, you would any day be profitable from day one, and obviously the whole consumer journey data, etc.
So would this view kind of change in fashion versus non-fashion?
So, I mean, to be honest, I can't speak of fashion per se, but for any young brand, I feel you have to be, as we discussed earlier, you have to be omni-channel. You have to be present and be visible across as many platforms as possible, right? Which of any repute, that is to say. So the large marketplaces, we are present on those platforms, and I think most young brands will benefit from being present there. Now, how much of a business that you do there, that really depends on how much you distinguish yourself from your competitors on that marketplace and how the marketplace pushes, different brands or categories accordingly. So, and I agree with my panelist here that it's definitely much better ROI as well as in terms of what you actually, the bottom line that you make, as well as the data that you get, which is of course gold, right? So getting access to data is a huge part of doing things yourself on your own website or your own platform, while being present in the marketplace for the brand and category awareness part.
Sorry, so if you're saying that whether I should develop a website or an app or whether I should go to Flipkart or Amazon, it's dependent on A, which category of product you're choosing. B, you can have a very different strategy. And you can say, my lowest price point of product, I'm going to warehouse with them. I'm going to go and say, okay, Flipkart, give me the warehouse facility. I'll give a bulk shipment to you, give it on a SOR model, and I'm done. While for my luxury segment or price sensitive segment, I will create an experience that nobody has seen. So experience for the consumer, what experience you're going to give. If you're going to go for a Shopify experience, at the end of the day, you're not going to be distinguished. The challenge would be, are you going to create a very native experience which nobody has seen for your product, and are you going to tell a story with it? What kind of content are you going to write? Are you going to have a great imagery with it? And that's a lot of dollars getting spent. We all talk about marketing spend. What we don't talk about is what goes behind the scene. There is a lot of ops cost.
So I'd like Anupam from the, the audience to answer this. He's the owner of Liberty. Marketplaces versus D2C. Adi, just give that. Because Liberty is one of the most diverse distribution networks. Is there any thought on whether it is an either or?
See, I
I heard the gentleman saying there should not be a comparison. Definitely, we need to exist in both the platforms. Looking in short-term view, I think definitely marketplaces is something you want to do because they're a lot more optimized. They're burning too much money to bring in traffic. Eventually, the brand should also focus on building their own portal and be ready whenever the time permits. Because right now, the cost to compete is too high. But I very strongly believe in building in our own website. But commercially, it doesn't make viable to do it at this point of time because the kind of money all the marketplaces are burning is too high to get the customer. And also, we can learn from a lot of these marketplaces, learn everything from them, bring to your website, and then encash on it. Otherwise, the way they are doing to you on the other side.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hope we've been able to.
Yes, yes, very much. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have one set of round of questions for the panel and as well as the folks here. I think it's about retention because we talked about cost of logistics. I think if you keep marketing to acquire customers, then the cost of marketing to your repeat customer, etc., is very high. I think loyalty and retention, does it even exist in the e-commerce landscape? So.
I think we talked about acquisition costs or selling a 300 rupee product and where it costs much more to actually deliver the product. Retention is absolutely essential. After acquiring the customer, great product, service, customer service, experience, of unboxing the product and so on. The story that you're narrating for every product that you're selling, and the engagement that you can create. And engagement can be done in various ways. For example, we do a lot of workshops around right from building rockets with DIY kits to Madhubani workshops and gold painting workshops and so on. So all of these then create a way to engage customers who bought something from you, and then you keep telling them about new things that you have. I think your product categories also help in this. If you have a collection that you communicate that they can wait for, okay, there's something new coming in that collection, almost like fashion. If you can do that, I think you can kind of keep them engaged. And you need to do all of these, which is probably a combination of kind of digital and physical stuff that you may need to do.
I mean, retention has to be key, right? I mean, I don't think one can run a business without having repeat customers, and we have to maximize the CLV for our customers. The one thing that we actively focus on, and I think all of us in this room with our own businesses or products need to, is create that distinction in the product. Something about your product that really makes you stand out from your competitors, right? At the end of the day, you can talk about everything else. The branding, the positioning, the packaging, the customer service, but the product has to be center, front and center. Not just the product that you're selling today, but the next version that you're going to bring up, the next version you're going to bring up, and that communication along the whole spectrum of as the customer moves with your brand. You take them, all right, I've got my generation 1 product, now a generation 2 product, and this is how you engage with them. The other part is when you communicate your brand story, right? You have to have try to make it something distinct, something very natural and organic, where they like to associate with you, where they enjoy something that you bring to the table that they feel proud about, that they are happy to be a part of, and they talk about organically on their social media feed or whatever, right? So those are the two things I feel very strongly is the brand by itself and the product proposition or value proposition of the product for the customer. Those two have to be the key.
Sure. Fair enough. So I heard storytelling, I heard experience. You want to come in with something? No? Okay. I heard engagement. I think our view on this is, I guess, what?
See, one is the brand experience that we were talking about. I think what is missing is the consumer, when they land onto your homepage and when they are exiting, are they getting confused? What is the empathy map looking like? Nobody talks about it. That's, sorry, the sad state of affair is that we don't talk about user experience so much. And while we talk about D2C and while we talk about digital, user experience becomes the most important key for you. If you keep the empathy map running, you make sure either the consumer have a neutral reaction to what you're showing and a happy reaction to what you're showing, you have a smooth sale. Once the smooth sale is done and your experience is delivered, what is the after sale service looking like? Once you keep that experience in check, you will have the retention automatically. So that is dependent on how you plan your experience around.
Okay, hi. This has definitely been a good, engaging conversation. And I'm Deepak. I basically run a mobile marketing company. I just want to add a perspective, in the spirit of this conversation. If you all look back at legacy business, sometime back we spoke about it. Those businesses were largely prioritizing, if you look at their business, product, distribution, marketing. And if they had to really, a legacy business used to really put a lot of effort. Some of them would even over-prioritize distribution over product. Okay, and then marketing for the legacy business, because you were dealing with TV, print, it was largely about brand awareness. There was not really so much science, behind marketing. Okay, so if you look at those businesses, they survived on good product, excellent distribution, okay, and the power to buy media. Yeah. Now, when you look at new businesses today, do they care about distribution? Because digital has kind of democratized distribution. Okay, so they believe that, look, distribution is not a problem. Product is something which I'm passionate about, so that I can find the right need gap in the market. And I think the other aspect is that marketing in the digital era, okay, is something which I believe many founders have to really go deep, and get their sleeves dirty on that front, because that will be a big success mantra. So if you are able to develop a science behind marketing, okay, that will actually empower you to grow the business. Yes, you can do product innovation, but marketing, to my view, is becoming increasingly important in the digital world.
Any other questions?
I don't know whether it made sense to people,
No,
but
all good
I just
insights,
felt
sir.
that was important to convey.
I guess concluding statements from our end. We're open for another question or two. We have about 7 minutes to go. But yeah, I mean, we talked about retention. We talked about customer experience, engagement. So I guess, as rightly said, that, the repeat customer is the core of the business. I think one of the key goals that we from this side, even as marketers or technologists, need to actually double down and have a goal for repeat customer cohorts, because I think we get lost into this madness of new customer acquisition only each time in digital, just because it's possible. But at the end of the day, the economics of the business comes from the stickiness and the lifetime value of the consumer. So yeah, developing a science behind marketing was a great input. I'm done for the session here. Any last thoughts from anyone?
I just have one thing about retention. So I'll just give you a story about Singh style. I think our return repeat buyers is around 45 to 50% month on month, right? We've maintained that. But the beautiful story about our repeat buyers is that there are 4 or 5 customers of ours back from 2016. They are the investors in Singh. We actually didn't have to go out to look out for funding. Our customers themselves walked in and said, let's make it more bigger, right? So if you are, you don't need to go with how many shampoos do you need here in your bathroom? Or how many charcoals do you need in your mouth, right? That's where Singh Style said we don't want to do. Simple, sweet products, right focused, just deliver. You need a beard oil, we'll give you a beard oil. You need a beard setter, we'll give you a beard setter. Be simple, and if you're distinct than the others, you don't need to think too much about repeat buyers, because Once they like your product, they like your brand, experience and everything is a part of the package, right? That's how, I say, it's like a parent thing, right? बच्चा पैदा कर दे तो उसको थोड़ी देर रोज मारूंगा, उसको प्यार करेंगे, उसको लाएंगे, फिर ही जाके वो बच्चा बड़ा होएगा, हमको रिस्पेक्ट करेगा, right? The same goes with customers. If you can't just throw a product, even if you make a brilliant product, you can just throw it away. You have to start listening to customers. Most of our products, ideas actually come from our customers. A beard deodorant. How many of you have heard of a beard deodorant? It came from one of our customers. Yeah, every time I draw food on my beard, I stick my beard. I can't go and wash it like everyone else, right? Why don't you come up with a beard deodorant? And we did that, right? And he brought in 10 other customers, stating that, yeah, boss, you look sunte hain. So I think the listening skills, you need a great product, but also have a very open mind. Like listening skills should be there. Then you don't need to think too much about attention, right? And those customers, they start bringing more and more customers for you. I think we hardly spend on digital advertising. Everything comes from word of mouth. Right? So that's my thought. I've always said that about attention. So, and I'm pretty sure I may be wrong, but
No, good insights. Thanks a ton. Sure. Sure, I think there's a huge realization in terms of the shift in channels or sources of traffic or audience, and I think the more value on organic efforts or diversification is now mission critical more than ever before, and that's what's going to get any kind of differentiation. So yeah, I'm done for time.
Can I add a value before just concluding? So I had two thoughts in my mind before we can conclude the session formally. We are going digital, and why we are going digital, that also something which always inspires me to find this answer. And I found this answer in one session where I heard, probably in the Stone Age we found or we invented the wheels. And probably before Christ area we invented the bags. But it took 2000 years for someone to add those wheels under that bag and trolley bags. So that's the kind of innovation we live in. We use everything, but we feel there is no space of innovation, but innovation happens. And where we work on a product, where convenience has been given, it is impossible to reverse that convenience. I'll give you 1000 rupees extra if you buy a bag without trolleys. People won't buy today because it is impossible to reverse the convenience. Now, that is the fundamental idea. If we don't get stickiness of brand, as Sir said, as everyone said, that's the problem. Probably the products are not adding convenience to the user and they cannot be taken away. It doesn't matter you pump crores of money. Second thought is, when we decide to go D2C, we had one debate of native versus the marketplaces. We need to understand this convenience. To give convenience, Flipkart took billions of dollars to fund. To give that convenience, Amazon has burnt that. We really need to be careful of screen space. Doesn't matter, we thrive to give that convenience. Do we really need 100 apps on our phone? And can we have 100 apps on our phone? It's not possible. So we really need to understand our business and use the convenience what user has already got through someone else. And this is the time where only key to success is shared resources. If we try to do everything on our own, we are going to fail and nobody is going to invest in bleeding model today. That was my concluding note.
Good. Thanks. Any last statements for anyone, or we are done for time? Thank you so much. Thanks for the engaging insights. Our innovative panelists who've come up with great business models in D2C. Hopefully it was a value addition here. Thank you.